Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn. Good morning to you. Another edition of Growth Driven. And today I want to talk to you about my 10 times my 10 income sources over the next 10 years strategy. Maybe it'll inspire you to do something similar. Hey, Edwin Dearborn coming to you this morning. And I wanted to talk to you about a particular strategy that I am not only developing further, but I am midst execution, have been for a number of years, really stepped it up in 2020 when I realized that there were certain forces that were willing to consider me non-essential. And I realized I had to make my survival even more essential, as well as the survival of those that I serve, making them essential. So had a big Jerry Maguire moment in March when I saw things going downhill. Good morning, John. Thanks for joining once again. And when I saw things going downhill and I realized the government was willing to label me not essential, it was kind of that, as I've referred to in the past, my Jerry Maguire moment, late at night, typing my manifesto of what I was going to do to change my life. And it changed my life because it was a very significant moment for me, an epiphany, if you will, of what I had to do to really grab control of my future, my finances, my brand. And from that, this show, Growth Driven, was a result of it, because I couldn't go to the coffee shops and do caffeinated content, but that was just kind of the outward manifestation that you see. Now, I want to share a document. I'm not going to go into too much in the details because factually some of this is just, it's personal information. And, I have a certain level of transparency, but, there's certain things I got to keep close to my chest, like my next big moves. So I came up with a strategy called 10X my 10 income sources over the next 10 years. And it was an idea that I had. I have multiple plays in my finances, but there's also other things that I want to do when I get to a higher level of revenue, meaning I want to convert money that's going towards debt and convert that towards assets, real estate, precious metals, maybe some crypto, and other things. So yeah, Ethan, thanks for joining in. I agree, it is good, and I'll tell you why it was good for me, because it really forced me to articulate how I was going to do it. Versus, I think a lot of times in our mind we think about our plans, quote unquote, but when you force yourself to articulate exactly what you're thinking, how you will do it, with whom, and really what are those channels, and how will you exactly 10x. Now, this document is nowhere near being done. This was kind of like, I took about 2 hours yesterday and just started the document. I will expand upon it over the next coming week or so. And factually, it will be a living document, where I'll probably review it every month and just see if I'm on point, if I need to add things. But it allows me to have a well-documented, articulated strategy that keeps me true to, are my daily actions, are my weekly actions actually enforcing and forwarding the plans, the programs, the policies that are making this thing a reality. So I went, okay, well, what are the 10 ways that I can grow my revenue? And how do I 10x each of these 10 sources of revenue over the next 10 years? Tomorrow is my birthday. I turned 57. So if I was 67 years old and I had 10 sources of revenue, which had 10x'd, I would be in an extremely good place. So I thought, okay, long-term survival planning sounds like a good idea. So I took a look. Okay, well, first of all, what are my 10 sources? So I looked at content creation, building list followers and advertising. If I had 10 times the followers, if I had as many followers as Grant Cardone or Gary Vaynerchuk, that would itself is an income source. Those attract me opportunities. Growth-driven partnerships, meaning I do my show growth-driven, partnerships that come from it. I've started a company called Quick Pros. I'm involved in a company called ROM Technologies. I'm involved in a company as a board member called Rehab to Fit. I'm involved in a company as a board member of Solvency Now. Rome, won't get into that right now what that is. That's something I'll be announcing soon. Reserves and non-real estate assets, and then my real estate assets. Those are my 10 income sources. Okay, now what I'm going to do is John, thank you so much for the early birthday wishes. So what I'm going to do now is articulate exactly my position within those 10 activities and what will I do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to forward this 10-year plan. Now, granted, this is speculative to a certain degree, but it's non-speculative to the degree that I put in the certainty, the actions, the systems, and the teams. And that's very important to realize that when you're building a strategy, it's not just a matter of thinking. I think a lot of people think that, strategy is, oh, you just sit in a room and you do a video and you do all this thinking. And no, it's not thinking. Strategy is about building an infrastructure, a team, and systems. In about 10 minutes, I will meet with one of my partners and several virtual assistants. We have 3 virtual assistants and a team member. So I'm going to be on a Zoom call with 4 other people about how to forward our promotional actions along a number of the income sources that I just shared with you. Then at 1 o'clock, I'm meeting with 2 other individuals in another partnership that I'm involved with. And tomorrow I meet with about 12 other people on another Zoom call on one other income source that I'm working on. So I am working with teams. I am building teams. We are building systems, CRMs, social media automation, content creation, content distribution, paid advertising, hiring content creators, salespeople, systems, policies. That is strategy now moving forward in the physical universe. It's not something that occurs in my mind and I write it down, and then if I visualize it, it all comes to bear. No, that's not strategy. And the people that believe that that is strategy don't understand truly the topic of what strategy is. So what my document shows, it doesn't show all the systems that are going in place. It allows me to organize mentally exactly like, okay, this is what I have. Here's my resources in these 10 things. What am I doing today or this week to actually move forward my real estate holdings? What am I doing this week? And it may be one action that week. It may just go, I'm going to go look at a property. Doesn't have to be some earth-shattering action that I'm taking. With one of my activities of Solvency Now, what am I doing? Oh, we're going to create some content and we're going to automate the sharing of the content through social media this week. Okay, small action. But numerous small actions repeated over and over on a daily and weekly basis over the next 10 years is where the 10X will occur. Any person that's involved heavily in investments or insurance sales, IUL sales, will tell you about the rule of 72, the power of compound interest. Well, compound interest just doesn't apply to the money that you put in and have that money roll back in, but compound interest can also apply to the activities and the branding that you take on a daily basis. Meaning my actions of promoting my show, my actions of sharing on social media over and over and over, compounded daily for 10 years, builds an audience. And not only does it build the audience in terms of size, but it builds the audience in terms of trust that they have. The trust factor grows. The more that I post, the more transparency I give, the more how-to information that I share, the more experts that I interview and I share and divulge their secrets for you. See, that compounded interest of branding and brand awareness and content sharing is part of my 10x strategy. And from those, guess what happens? From that brand awareness, opportunities come. People reach out to me. Hey, I'm looking at getting involved in one of those activities that you're involved in. Can I be involved in as well? Or could you work with me as a virtual chief marketing officer? Which the answer is yes. So if you are looking to have a brighter future, if last year and this year has kind of got you down, I'm going to tell you something. If you dive into your strategy and you start to develop teams and systems around how to make your financial and business goals occur, you're going to extrovert, you're going to feel better, you're going to feel proactive, and your state of mind, your tonality, your personality will all benefit as a result of drowning your sorrows in a good strategy and building great teams that will help you, and as well as you helping them to forward that overall strategy. There's been another edition of Growth Driven, and hopefully you make this a great day. We will talk soon. Bye-bye.